If you remember Wall-E using a cannon, doing skateboard tricks, and throwing cubes of junk at fat people, then you grew up playing Wall-E the game. But which one? Because there were 4 completely different versions, and in this video we're going to compare each of them. Let's begin by looking at the flagship version released for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. The game starts with an opening similar to the movie, only this time rendered in-engine. We begin with a tutorial level following the cockroach. Rex, is that you? What the hell are you doing in this post-apocalyptic wasteland? Like any dystopian story, we control Wall-E as he rolls around, scavenging body parts from his fallen brethren in a desperate bid to survive. He can also recharge using the sun and compress trash cubes to throw them, which is very much the main mechanic of solving puzzles in this game. Also, who's that creepy guy on the billboard? Is that Michael Scott? This version of the game is a 3D puzzle platformer. Wall-E controls like a mix between Mario and a Tony Hawk skateboard, with an occasional pinball section thrown in. These levels definitely lean a lot more towards puzzle solving than platforming, but the puzzles are a level above what you'd expect from a generic licensed game. Sure, a lot of them revolve around cube throwing, but there are different types of cubes to keep things interesting. Plus, many puzzles also feature physics-based elements and memorable set pieces. The second level has you play as Eve as she flies around tunnels, shooting things and trying to get to checkpoints before the time runs out. And this game does a really good job of making the environments feel vast, just like in the film, even if it does have a tendency to pull you back when you go the slightest bit off course. Every now and then, the speedy flying segments are broken up by slower moments where you hover around flipping switches or scanning for plant life. Next up is the Sandstorm level where you get to control both the robots. You do mainly play as Wall-E, but Eve can pick him up and help him navigate obstacles. That's right, Eve, just drop him into the mountain of rubbish. These levels still revolve around the traditional cube-based Wall-E puzzle mechanics, but introducing Eve does give it a fresh new element, mainly because you can just blast everything in sight. Oh no, it's the possessed shopping trolleys, get 'em, Eve! This is followed by a level on the Axiom. Be careful of red floors, they'll cause Wall-E to be scrapped on contact. Oh, I'm sure it's not that bad. Well, what do you know? What are these barrels? Oh goddammit, why is everything here trying to kill me? This is another puzzle platformer type level. This new environment does allow for some interesting physics-based puzzles like the anti-gravity section. Also, keep an eye out for Mo. If he catches you, he'll literally clean Wall-E to death.
Supplies are limited.
My favorite part of this level is that you can actually go into the human section and cause absolute carnage. Look, you can straight up throw cubes at them. Hey, remember that part in the movie where Wall-E gets hold of Eve's arm and uses it as a cannon to cause absolute mayhem around the ship? This is followed by an Eve level in space where you have to chase Wall-E, which is quite hard because he's near impossible to make out against this meteorite field. Ah, there you are. Hey, what the hell is that? Eventually, Wall-E is pulled into the ship and you have to chase him whilst blasting all of the obstacles. Honestly, the amount of damage she's doing here would probably destroy the ship's life support system. We then get another Wall-E level, this time inside the garbage section. The goal here is to stay one step ahead of Mo, and there's loads of sludge around that slows you down. Again, I've got to say, this game does a really good job on the environments and visuals. The penultimate level has you control both Eve and Wall-E in the swimming pool deck of the Axiom. Oh god damn it, Eve, couldn't you carry me a few inches further? So yeah, the goal here is to get past all of these red floors and drop off the plant. Now, the last level is a bit of a retread. It takes place after the humans come back to Earth, but it's in the same location as the second level. Only this time, Eve is looking for Wall-E's parts instead of scanning for plants. And that's it, Wall-E is repaired and they live happily ever after. I do appreciate that the developers recreated the key cutscenes using the in-game engine instead of just ripping them from the movie. It gives the whole game a nice sense of cohesion. There are a few bonus features too, like the concept art, an extra Axiom level, and even a couple of multiplayer modes, like this one where you play as Wall-E shooting each other, or this one where you race Eves. Both characters also have unlockable paint jobs and skins, which is a nice touch. Now, there was also a Wii version. This one is very similar to the PlayStation 3 and 360 versions, but with a noticeable visual downgrade. The levels are also split into smaller chunks with loading screens in between. Here is a quick comparison of the two. Okay, let's move on to the last gen version released for the PS2, PSP, and PC. Just like Ratatouille before it, this version shares some of the same ideas and story beats, but it's a completely different game built from the ground up. This time, there's a much bigger focus on collecting a set number of battery packs to open doors. Wally still has his signature cube throwing moves, but this version also introduces other abilities like cube sliding and the laser that you see for a moment in the movie. Wally does feel heavier and less bouncy here, but ironically enough, this version leans more into the skateboard mechanics. This version actually starts with a prequel level which shows Wally and all of his fellow bots making cubes and then cuts to 700 years later when he's all alone. Wow, that's pretty grim. There are also these basic puzzles spread throughout the levels, and every now and then you'll get a race level where Wally has to reach the checkpoint before time runs out. Plus you also get these playground levels which offer basic challenges. There are way more levels in this version than in the Flagship, but a lot of them are filler and feel like they're just there to pad the game out. For example, there are 6 levels of Wally doing random shit before Eve arrives. Now, you still have the Eve levels, but they're a lot more linear and similar to the Wally race levels, only with flying and blasters. But you do get this nice level where Wally's clinging onto the ship in space and has to use his laser to blast space junk. Many of the Axiom levels aren't that much different than the ones on Earth, but I did enjoy this first one where you have to chase Eve throughout the ship. Okay, where do I go now? Ow! Alright, you want some? Yeah, didn't think so. You do still get the space chase, only this time most of it takes place inside the giant asteroids. There's even an escape pod section where Wally gets to do some on-rail laser blasting. Actually, this game loves some on-rail laser blasting. In this version, Eve ends up getting broken towards the end, and it's up to Wally to find the parts to repair her. Apparently this was in an earlier draft of the movie script. You do get a level amongst the humans, but you can't really cause any mayhem. Every time you touch them, the claw will just grab you and take you back to the start. The final Axiom level has the entire ship tilt, letting Wally use it as a big skateboard park. There is also an Eve level back on Earth, but this one just involves you getting Wally back to his house before time runs out. This is followed by a heartwarming cutscene of Wally getting his memories back, and that's it. Wait, what? There's an epilogue chapter where the evil droid steals the plant and you have to chase it? Okay, that's a bit anticlimactic, but sure, why not? And main campaign aside, this version also features some 2-player minigames based on the main levels. As for the PSP version, well, it's nearly identical, just with some visual downgrades. Here is a side-by-side comparison.
Scanning. By and large checkup.
And finally, we have the Nintendo DS version. This one isn't 3D but uses a flat, minimalistic art style that looks great in both cutscenes and gameplay. It takes elements from the Flagship version and adapts them, following the same structure and plot. There are way more levels here, but they're short and compact, perfect for a pick-up-and-play session. Most levels are all about you reaching the door at the end by solving puzzles. These usually involve throwing cubes and timing things like moving platforms and presses. Wally can't jump in this version, so you're going to have to use the environment to help him get over obstacles. The levels are fully 3D, and you are going to have to rotate the camera using the shoulder buttons to progress. And finally, we have the Java mobile version. This is a simple platformer, but it does make an effort to incorporate some elements from the other versions. For example, it's still based around Wally making cubes from rubbish and then using them to climb on ledges. Every level has this random item that you have to collect at the end. It's a neat little platformer, but I just don't understand why they made poor Wally look so sad in this one. And so there we have it, every version of Wally the game. And here we have 3 very different games, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. The last gen version definitely has some fun levels and mechanics, but I would probably pick the Flagship as it provides a better paced, more streamlined experience. Plus, I just love the random acts of chaos, but that's just my take. In the meantime, please let me know your thoughts on Wally the game in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. Please consider supporting me on Patreon, and a big thanks to my existing patrons. If you've enjoyed this video, then please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.